Okay, hello everyone. So today I'm going to be doing a video recording a review on the Magisterium Book 1, which is The Iron Trial. And I actually really enjoyed this book, and I think I realized that I'm seemingly liking middle grades over any other genre. Like for YA, I'm reading YA books and I'm so bored. But this one was truly interesting to say the least. Right, so let's start. So book one starts with us following this guy called Callum Hunt, but actually, in the very first page, it's like the prologue, and they're showing his father, and his father was climbing up this ice cave using magic, some magic we don't really know how to use at the time, and he gets into this ice cave where lots of women and children and all the wounded people from this war that they've been having are residing, and he realizes that they're all dead. They're all killed by this one guy who is called the Enemy of Death. Now, I forgot to mention this is going to be a spoiler-filled review, so if it is that you don't want to see spoilers, you could probably not watch this video. But you should definitely read the book though, and then you can come after that because the book is actually it's pretty interesting. It's very diverse as well. Lots of inclusivity. I can see that they really tried for the inclusivity. And so after he gets to the cave and he realizes that everyone's dead, by the way, his child, newborn child, and wife, which her name is Sarah Hunt, and his name is Alastair Hunt, so his wife, is also there. She's also a mage. She can use magic, and she died. But then he saw what was next to her on the wall, which she carved with like her last breath, you could say, and it was kill the child. And then he looked and he found the child, and he found his own child, and I believe the child's body was somewhere with his uncle. I think his uncle was trying to protect it, and his leg was bent in some very odd way. And so the mother of the child is now saying kill the child, so we don't know what's going on. So the chapter ends right there as Alistair takes out the baby and he carries him home and he's going to raise him. Now, that was pretty interesting, kill the child. Normally you wouldn't hear a mother say that, but I thought that was interesting. So we moved on from there and we got to see that growing up, Callum Hunt, which is the child's name, he grew up with a limp, like not like a foot. Yeah, not what's it called? I forgot what it's called, but he couldn't walk properly. So yeah, because his father didn't seem to heal his leg, and so they tried a lot of not magical stuff. They tried lots of what do you call it? Medicine? No, not medicine. Surgeries. They had lots of surgery stuff, but it didn't work. He did like lots of it. Nothing worked. So he still had to limp, and it kind of hurt his self-esteem, especially when people looked down on him because of that. But he kind of got over. Actually, no, he never got over that ever. Actually, yeah. But when he's being raised, we see his father, Alastair Hunt. Alastair is continuously telling him, "No, no, this is you should never ever use magic. Magic's evil. You don't want to go to magic school. You don't want to learn anything about magic. If anything, you don't want to ever use magic. If you ever feel magic coming along, don't ever use it. It's bad. Mages are bad. They don't tell the truth." Or so a bunch of stuff. Alastair was just very upset with the mage world because he kind of blames them for the death of Sarah Hunt. I don't remember exactly why he did that. I just don't kind of get it, but for whatever reason, he hated the mage world, and so we're like, cool. And then we see that when Cal turns, is it 13? I think it's 13. I think when he turns 13, he gets an invitation to Magisterium, which is this magical school. And apparently he has to go. If you don't go for the trials, you are... I don't know if you're in trouble, but I think they'll come and clear your memories, or they'll do something like that. And so that is where this book gets its name. It's called The Iron Trial. And so the reason why it's called The Iron Trial is because in the first year of magic school, they call that the Iron Year. So there are 5 different years. So you have Iron, Bronze. I don't remember all of them, but I know there's Silver, Gold. So gold is the last one. I think Silver is the second to last one. So Iron, Bronze, Copper. Iron, Bronze. So it's Iron, Copper, Bronze, Silver, Gold. Yeah. So he would be doing this trial to get into his first year. And so his dad tells him to try to fail on purpose. So to try to fail a magic test on purpose, this is cool. By this time I'm thinking it's probably some OP protagonist type thing. I'm like, okay, I have no problems with that. I was an avid anime watcher, and I used to watch some OP protagonists back in my day. What can I say? Guilty pleasures. But yeah, so he tries to fail the test, and he does actually fail the test. Like he tries really hard, but he ends up getting a negative score, which is horrible. No one has ever gotten a negative score before. But his parents were two of the best mages ever. So this first book, when it got to the two of the parents are the best mages ever, it really reminded me of Harry Potter. And you'll see kind of going on throughout the whole book that it's kind of like a mix between Harry Potter and Black Clover, if you've watched the anime for Black Clover, that is. So cool. His parents were at the top of their iron trials. They got to not intern, they got to be apprentices for Master Rufus, which is this really good wizard guy. And so that's cool. His parents got like the top scores, and they were also in the same year as Constantine Madden, Joseph Madden, and I think one other guy. But Constantine Madden is the guy who's known as the enemy of death. And remember when Alistair Hunt, Cal's father, went into some ice cave? Do you remember what he saw? He saw lots of dead people, and people were killed by Constantine Madden, the enemy of death. And so back to Iron Trials. So Cal takes the Iron Trials, he gets the least score, and of course, somehow Master Rufus, the best master there is, decides to take him in because he sees something he could apparently. When you think really hard on something, they can read your thoughts. I don't think this is ever brought up back in the book for any of the other books. I don't think it was said. But in the very first book, he mentioned if you think about something really hard, other people can read your thoughts. Well, I don't know if other people, but if it's just him. But I know that he could read his thoughts, and he could kind of get that he was trying to fail. So because of that, he took him in for some reason. So he took in three people. So he took in Callum Hunt, which is our protagonist. He took in Tamara Javi, which is like the best. She was the best in the trials. She came first. And he took in Aaron something. I don't remember Aaron's like last name, but Aaron something. Yeah, he took in those three, and much to the despise of Jasper, Jasper something. I keep forgetting their last names. But Jasper is this rich kid who thought he was entitled to get intern apprenticed for the best of the best, and he didn't. So he hated Callum Hunt because Callum Hunt legitimately got the lowest score and still got the position. So he started to hate the guy, resent him for that. And we see that Tamara Rajavi and Tamara Rajavi doesn't really see much worth in him either, because I mean the guy kind of sucks, right? So we're like, cool. Anyways, Aaron Hunt, not Aaron Hunt, Aaron, whatever his name is. I think Aaron, I don't remember what his name is, but Aaron's pretty chill. So, hold on, let me just find it. Aaron Stewart. Yeah. So his last name is Aaron Stewart, and then we have, what was it, Jasper's a main character in this show, by the way, not show, this book. So let me just find his name, either Jasper De Winter. So Aaron Stewart and Jasper De Winter. Those are the two I was missing. And yeah, so the three of them plus other masters. So the reason why Master Rufus has those three apprentices is because Master Rufus gets to pick from all the group of the apprentices that took the test. And so he picks those three since he's the highest rank that was there, and then he let the other ranks go through. And so we have about, I think it's like 100 students, 100, maybe 200. I don't remember exactly how many. It's probably not even 100, sorry. It's probably like 50. But everyone can take a certain amount. Master Rufus took 3. You could take 5. I think the max you could take is like 8. So they all start to get into the bus. And by this time... Oh, I missed an important part. After Master Rufus picked Cal, and Cal was expected to go and stand next to him, Alistair Hunt, who was with him when he took him to the trial, got really upset and was trying to run away with Cal because he didn't want Cal to have anything to do with the magical world. And then when he was being escorted out because some guards came and were taking Alistair away, he used some magic and threw a knife at Callum Hunt. Now Cal believes that his dad was just trying to send a knife to him, but it kind of looks like his dad was trying to kill him. Like his dad was trying to fulfill what his mother had written, like kill the child. And I just thought that should be explored a little bit more. Did his dad actually want to kill him? Maybe not. So Alistair makes a scene in front of everyone, and so he's like, everyone's wondering what's wrong with this creepy guy. And so Kyle starts with a really bad day because everyone knows he's the worst in the class, and his dad is crazy. So they go on the bus, and at this time Kyle is just sad because imagine for 12 years this guy's been telling you, oh, you do not want to go to magic school, they're going to kill you in those tunnels, you'll never see the sunlight, there are no windows, you'll die. He was telling him all that stuff. So Kyle obviously didn't want to go to magic school, and his mom, well, Alistair, his dad, always tells Kyle and Hunt that his mom died because of these mages. And so we're like, okay. So Kyle goes to magic school. He apprentices under Master Rufus. He sucks. He knows nothing about the whole enemy of death thing. And it's actually kind of funny because the first thing he says when someone mentions the enemy of death and what happened to his mother, kind of in the massacre. It's called some massacre. I think it's called like the cave massacre or something like that, or the cold massacre, something like that. And when they mention that, Kyle's just like, but what's wrong with being the enemy of death? Because why would you want to be friends with death? That would be a whole lot more creepy. And I agree with him. Like, I very much agree with him. Why would you want to be friends with death? So other people look at him weirdly because he's obviously not used to the magical world. It's kind of like in the sense of Harry Potter, where Harry didn't know anything about the magical world until he got there. So there's also learning to do for Cal. But anyways, they get these rooms in the Magisterium. They realize that you cannot leave. And if you try to leave before you graduate first year, then they'll bind your magic. I think they might wipe your memories as well. Because that's what happened to everyone who didn't get picked by a master, by the way. They bind your memories and not your memories, they bind your magic and they erase your memories. So I'm like, cool. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to lose his magic. But he's trying to get a hold of his dad. So he finds a way to get a hold of his dad using some magical device. And that is this tornado phone. Very semi-creative. And his dad tells him to run away or whatever. But then the way how he gets a hold of the tornado phone is that he goes into Master Rufus's office. And when he goes into Master Rufus's office, he finds the tornado phone. And then he uses it to contact his dad. And then after that, he looks in... For some reason, he looks in Master Rufus's... like... his... I guess you could say where he received his mail. And where he received this mail... well, where Master Rufus received this mail, there was a letter from Alistair Hunt. And I think because Kyle saw something that would have made it seem like his dad. Like, you know, if you saw like a sticker that your parent probably used or something. So he took it up, he read it, and in the message it said something like, Master Rufus, if you've ever believed in me, if you've ever had any trust in me, bind his magic, or something. And we were like, what? Alistair's going crazy, this guy does not, why would he want to bind this guy's magic? So we're like, cool, and we learned more about the enemy of death, which is Constantine Madden, and we learned that he was a rare type of magic user, called a chaos magic user. So normally there are 4 elements, or is it 5? So they have wind, water, earth, fire. And then chaos is the 5th. So they have this saying that water wants to... Actually, I forgot what the saying was. It was something like water wants to... I know fire wants... So I know it's fire wants to burn. Let me look at it. Fire wants... Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. Fire wants to burn, water wants to flow, air wants to rise, earth wants to bind, and chaos wants to devour. So chaos is the opposite of the soul. So it is, you can use it to destroy, soul is used to create. Cool. So by this time when they mentioned the super rare magic that only few mages have, I'm like, okay, MC has it. I'm just thinking like, I'm thinking that's how it's going to be. And so I'm like, okay, prepared to find the MC, have some super main event happening, and he uses his magic for this. Like, okay, cool, this might happen. But then we start to see more of Aaron and Tamara Rajavi. Now Tamara it's good for the inclusivity. Tamara is black, so is Master Rufus. And Aaron and Cal are white, so they're really trying to add some diversity. I did not see any Asians in here. I don't know if it's because it's in the middle of the US. I think it's in the Midwest. But there were no Asians in this book, but still adding diversity, a main character. That's cool. Master Rufus is also a member of the LGBT community, so more inclusivity if you want that. And what was I saying? But basically, yeah, we start to see more of Aaron and Tamara, and we start to see them become kind of friends. Because Kyle is made fun of a lot by other guys, especially Jasper the Winter, because Jasper's kind of just insecure. Because the problem with Jasper's family is that his family was once rich, but they're not rich anymore. So Jasper is using all hand-me-downs, but the hand-me-downs are like some high quality hand-me-downs. So Jasper is really upset that his family's poor, not poor, but not rich anymore. They just have they still have connections, but they don't have the money that they used to have. So he's probably hurting on the inside because of that. Oh, I let me just plug this in because I feel like my what do you call it? My phone is going to die while recording again. That's going to be. I hope that worked. Well, hopefully that works. But yeah, so that's why Jasper is mad. Oh no, it's charging my iPad. That's not what I wanted it to do. But yeah, so Jasper is mad at Cal for that. And other guys just don't like Cal because he's not the best looking guy. And next to him in this group is Aaron. Aaron is everything that Cal does not stand for. Aaron is charismatic. He is well built. He's handsome. People seem to like Aaron. No one seems to like Cal. So Cal starts to build a little resentment towards Aaron for that. But he tries to push it down because Aaron's a nice guy. Aaron's the only guy that's always been nice to Cal. And we see the three of them get more like friends. Because one time they were in the lunchroom and Jasper said something about Cal's leg, talking about, oh, he'd slow them down anyways. And this is something Cal's really insecure about. And this is when Aaron or Tamara stood up for Cal. Now, Tamara was friends with Jasper before, but after that they were not friends anymore, really. So he was very upset about that. It kind of seemed like Jasper had feelings for Tamara, but we don't know how that went. It didn't seem to happen at all. And after that, Tamara storms off, and then Cal gets up to do the same thing, but before he gets to follow Tamara and Aaron back to their room, this guy called Drew not follows him, but comes up to him and says, wait, no, I'm mixing up the story. Oh, no. Yes, it says Tamara defends Jasper. No, sorry, Tamara defends Cal. We're like, cool. Eventually, they go back to their lessons. They are doing some really tedious work moving individual grains of sand while all the classes are fighting monsters. But of course, we know now from being readers that this means that they're learning some awesome control. And so they do learn awesome control. So when they have this event that they have to do, this test, they are able to pass with flying colors. Is my thing recording still? Okay, so I think when I plugged in my iPad into my USB-C extender, it's messed up the recording, but it didn't actually, but it just looked at that on my screen. So anyways, yeah, so Tamara defends Cal. Cool, they become friends, and then actually I mentioned that already. I went up to the sand part, I believe, before I stopped. Yeah, so they went back to they did the sand. They beat some trial that the master set for them, but then one time they go, Tamara, Aaron, and Cal go through the tunnels because the school is entirely underground. By the way, like entire thing's underground. You can't leave, and they go through this tunnel led by this lizard. And the reason why the lizard is leading them is because the lizard is an elemental, and he was once in the custody of Master Rufus. But when Cal went to use the tornado phone, to talk to his dad, the lizard was in there, and the lizard said he would tell if Cal didn't free him. So Cal had to free him. Blah blah blah. Now eventually they become friends. Not friends, but lizards are kind of like a guy that you can use for something. So the lizard tells him that they need to go somewhere. Lizard brings them to this guy who is a devoured. So that's how we really learn what a devoured is. Apparently, if you use magic too much to the point where it's like that you give yourself to the magic, you can become not human. You become like an elemental, and an elemental, I still don't really get what it is, but it's kind of something like objects based pure on that element, pure objects from the element, like a fire elemental. And elemental could be like something made entirely of fire that just wants to burn. And so they become kind of like elementals, but they have a sort of human side, and we'll explore that human side a very small amount in the future books. I'm so glad that this was not hot. It was hot, but it got cool. But yeah, that's not good for me. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, but yeah, so we met the devoured Marcus, and this Marcus guy actually was Master Rufus's teacher. So we're like, cool. Master Rufus comes, tells Marcus to go away. Eventually, apparently he captures him. We didn't even know that. And we're like, cool. But then eventually, we're getting to the point now where Aaron, Tamara, and Cal are pretty good friends. They're in the lunchroom one time, and they're leaving, and then Drew comes up to Cal, this Drew guy that I was mentioning earlier, and he's like, do you really not know? Because the reason why he says it is because the devoured, they're like demigods, so they can kind of see into the future, and the devoured gives them a riddle, well, a prophecy really, and it's the prophecy is one of you is already dead, one of you will die, and one of you will fail. Now I completely did not like the fact that they did this, because then it kind of just removed all the intrigue from the rest of the plot, because especially when it's not that it's a problem being middle grade, but it's just that it wasn't a problem to guess who was who, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so we're like, cool. They go back to the lunchroom. He's kind of freaked out. Everyone's freaked out that I met a devoured, because devoureds are supposed to be like super scary evil guys. And they tell them about the prophecy, and then Drew comes up to him and he's like, and Kyle's like, oh, why do you say something like, Drew was like, oh yeah, it's probably all just not real. Like the prophecy is not real at all. Those devoured guys don't know what they're talking about. And then they're all leaving now, and then Drew comes up to Kyle. He's like, and Kyle's like to him, "Oh, how do you know that they're all just fake?" And Drew's like, "What? You? What do you mean?" And he's like, "You said they were fake." And he's like, and Drew was like to him, "You don't know, do you?" Kyle's like, "I don't know what." But then he had to leave because Tamara was very distraught, so he was going to Tamara's room because she wasn't feeling very good. The reason being is because Tamara has a sister who is a devoured, who is a sister who everyone idolized, and she was devoured by her own flame magic, and her name is Ravan. And so we're like, cool, Tamara's going, Cal goes to help. I just realized, do I have on my glasses? Where are my glasses? Oh, I don't have on my glasses, but cool. And so what we realize is that, so after that, Kyle's like wondering what Drew meant, but he goes to comfort Tamara anyways. Then later in that night, what they realize is that Drew ran away. So what happens when someone tries to run away? So you can go through this gate called the mission gate, and that's the only way you can leave the school, because normally guys have missions to go kill some monsters, some shadow-ridden monsters. And shadow-ridden monsters are monsters created by the enemy of death, or Constantine Madden. And what he did was he would take some chaos and infuse that chaos into an animal. And the problem with chaos mixing with the soul is that it creates something that's entirely not supposed to happen. And so what happens is that he creates these monster like stuff, and he can control them. So he can give them orders and they'll do whatever. And so ever since Constantine Madden disappeared, or the enemy of death disappeared, because he disappeared about 13 years ago, right during the Cold Massacre. It was the Cold Massacre, that's what it was. During the Cold Massacre, where Kyle's mom died, yeah, during that massacre, Constantine Madden also disappeared. People don't know what happened to him, but they believe that he had a truce with them. He didn't actually disappear, because he came back to give a truce, but we'll learn what happened with that later. So they've been under a truce for a while now, but no one believes that he's really in a truce. They all just believe that he's just waiting, building his forces to kill them. So we're like, cool. They still have to kill some chaos ridden in the forest, because there's a forest right outside the school. And that is when a student runs away, all teachers get mobilized, all the other students, to go and find them. So the masters, they call themselves masters because they've mastered an element or something like that. So the masters go and they bring the students to go and find Drew. Eventually, Cal finds Drew. Well, I don't know if it's Cal particularly, but a bunch of guys, they find Drew, and they are under Alex Strike. Now, Alex Strike is this really good, popular kid who's like really good at magic, and so he's a third year in that book. I think he's about third year or something like that, and he's Master Rufus's helper. He's a student too, but he just does it as like extra help because he's really good at what he does. And so he's leading this group with Cal, Aaron, Tamara, and some other students. So they're all going and they all run and they find Drew, and then Cal for some reason sprints to him when everyone else is saying don't go, because there's some chaos-ridden wolves in the forest, and they're trying to kill students or something. So Cal takes Drew up and he uses healing magic that he's never used before. He just felt like he could probably try it, and it's alright, cool. He does that, and then everyone else gets to him. Well, not everyone else, just the five of them: Alex, Aaron, Tamara, and some other kids. And then they form a defensive circle around Drew while Alex tries to heal him. But then they get surrounded by lots and lots of Chaos Wolves. Now, these Chaos Wolves have like some coruscating eyes, so the eyes don't look normal, so you can tell by their eyes if they're Chaos Ridden or not, and that's how they know when someone's Chaos Ridden, because you can also do this to humans, like human corpses, or I don't know what would happen if you did it to a real life human, but human corpses, they do it to humans as well. That's what they use for their army. So we're like, cool, he does that. And then while they're surrounded by the wolves, they all make a circular formation with their backs turned to Alex, because Alex is in the center, because something about wolves seeing the weakest link or something like that. And after that, during that, we realize that Cal seems to be walking towards the Chaos Wolf. He seems to be pulled into it. He seems intrigued by it when he should just be feeling fear. And Tamara has to yank him back, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, when they're about to just die, guess what? Someone has chaos magic in their group, although it's super rare and hasn't been had since it happened once since Constantine Madden, but she died. Her name was Verity Taurus, and she was fighting Constantine Madden, but she died. So that's that. But the person with the chaos is in fact not Cal, but Perfect Aaron. So from here on out, Aaron is going to be looked at a lot differently from everyone. He's going to be respected. They call him a Makar, you're a savior, blah, blah, blah. And Cal's going to start feeling a little insecure about this because Aaron was already better than him. But now he just became, like, from normal better than him to, like, way better than him. Like, he was already way better than him, but now he's just, like, a different level of better than him. So we're like, okay, cool. That happens. And Aaron is not really happy with the responsibility at first. He doesn't really want to be a Makar. So, you know, it's kind of like he has to because he can't stop power. And everyone... Oh, sorry. I thought my phone was just about to drop. And everyone's just complimenting him. But eventually what happens is that Aaron goes outside for some reason. I think they're walking Havoc. Oh, yes. Well, after Aaron uses chaos magic to kill all the wolves... No, they're dragging him back because after using magic like that for the first time, you're like spent. So dragging him back with Drew back to the academy, and in the meanwhile, what's his name? Cal finds this wolf in the forest, and he picks him up, puts him in his shirt, and carries him inside. Now this wolf is a chaos-ridden wolf. This is not supposed to happen. You're supposed to kill all chaos-ridden things. So we're kind of wondering why Cal took it up, because Cal is clearly not the chaos user. So eventually they bring him back, he gets raised. No one finds out except for Tamara and Aaron. They all try to raise him. And so what was happening is Aaron was walking Havoc one day, because they go outside to the mission gate to walk him because he needs somewhere to do his business. And when Aaron did that, he got kidnapped. And when Tamara and Cal went to find out what happened or something, they all went and they ran and they tried to catch up to him. So they eventually got to this bowling place. I think it was a bowling place. And that's where they found out that he was being taken. Now when they got inside there, they realized that there were chaos ridden in there. So they were like, oh no, this is the enemy of Death's lair, because they're chaos ridden in here, chaos ridden humans. And then they find one part where there is Alex. They see Alex hanging from a rope, and there's a chaos monster on the floor, and the one who's holding the rope, tugging him, is in fact Drew. The same Drew that was missing, but it seems that he was missing because he was trying to get a message back to his master, which presumably is the enemy of death. Eventually, Tamara finds a way to free him. And what I liked about this book is that it was kind of vicious. They didn't shy away from things. So after Tamara freed Aaron, the chaos element thing, the chaos monster that was going to eat Aaron, eats Drew and actually kills him. And I thought that was actually cool, not to have like no plot armor. Well, I guess there's plot armor for the main characters. Like there's literal plot armor for the main characters, by the way. Like I mean literally. But You'll find out in fifth book. And yeah, so Drew dies, and then we find this guy as Kyle's trying to run back out. He has to go through the other way because Tamara had climbed up this wall to the top to untie Aaron and pull him up. And so Kyle has to go back a different way instead of climbing because he has a bad leg. But then while he goes there, he finds this guy called the Master Joseph, but he doesn't actually. All he sees is this mask. And the reason is because Constantine Madden always wore a mask because during some battle he got a scar, and so he's always been trying to cover it with a mask that covers half his face or something. So he sees the mask and he's like, I'm screwed. I just walked into the enemy of death. But in fact, he did not. He walked into Master Joseph. Master Joseph tells him he is in fact not the enemy of death. But then he tells Cal that Cal is. And this is where I was like, what? Cal is the enemy of death? I never thought that was going to happen. It truly got me by surprise right there. So Cal is the enemy of death. And apparently what happened is when Constantine Madden was about to die in the cave, in the Cold Massacre, he found a baby's life. He's found the life of Cal, and he pushed his own soul into Cal's body, removing Cal's soul. So there's that. So he did kill the original Cal, and the only thing that's left now is Constantine Madden's soul, which is crazy. So Master Joseph gets to one knee and bows before Cal and says, Master, how could you have let Drew die? Drew is his son. But then he says, no, how foolish of me to like, basically saying how foolish of me to question you. You can do whatever you want. You're the master, whatever. But Cal's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm not the enemy of death. But then he realizes that he lost his memories. Well, Master Joseph realized that he lost his memories when he got into the new body, into the body of a child, or else the child would have gone insane. So, well, actually, no. We don't know that yet until the fifth book. But yeah, for some reason he doesn't have his memories. The memories are wiped clean. So we're like, cool. Find out that he's the enemy of death. And then he is saved by Tamara and Aaron, who smashed this bowling ball thing, not bowling ball, like sign, through the roof, and he's able to run away because Chaos ordered Nurse Sergeant to come to attack. And then Aaron uses some more Chaos to stop them. But the thing about Chaos is that, and every element, is that you need a counterweight, which is a nice idea. I've never seen this in a magical book before. And it's basically where if you're going to use one element, you need to use something else to balance it. It's all about balance. So if you're going to use chaos magic, the balance the chaos magic is soul magic. So when you put those together, it kind of evens out, and you have less chance of dying. So he uses Cal as his counterweight, and so what Cal does is, well, Cal doesn't do anything actually. Aaron just kind of pulls on Cal's power, which really his soul. He uses his soul kind of to pull on chaos without using too much of his own energy. And yeah, he dispels some of the monsters, but then eventually Cal gets him to run. They all run back. The teachers were very upset because they left without telling anyone, but they can't be that upset because they found the Makar, and the Makar is like the savior. And so they're very happy to have seen the Makar back. So they don't actually punish them, which is something that I liked. I actually like that. So you see, in a book like Harry Potter, Harry could kill Lord Voldemort. No, I don't mean if he actually, I don't actually mean that, right? I mean, like, he could be doing something super heroic, and he'd come back and get a detention or something. I just don't get it, right? So he could do that, and so I didn't like that part of Harry Potter, but I really like that this book, it's more realistic, because if you're in real life and you skip school, you ran away from school, and you went and brought back the savior of your world, I'm sure the guys are not going to give you a detention or something. They're going to just say good job. But I also didn't like that the children are still so stupid. I mean, not stupid. I prefer when children tell the adults things, because at the end of the day, they're still children, and they don't know anything about magic really, because they're in their first year. They haven't even gone to college yet. All the masters have gone to college and mastered stuff. So I thought that was very annoying, but it's in every book, so I can't even say anything. And I especially want to talk about the line where Master Joseph tells him, so he's like, what? Cal said his voice is where finally he's the enemy of death. I should have said it earlier, but I'm just saying now. What? Cal said, his voice trembling. I don't understand. Your master? Aren't you the enemy of death? And to Cal's utter shock, the mage raised his hands and drew off the silver mask, barring the face beneath it. It was a scarred face, an old, lined, withered face. It was a strangely familiar face. but it was not the face of Constantine Madden. No, Callum Hunt, I am not the enemy of death. You are. And so I thought that was really cool, that part right there. It really, I would have never thought about that, to be honest, that he was going to be the enemy of death. But yeah, and so after he gets him back, let's make sure there's nothing else that we need to see. Yeah, that's kind of just the end of the book, really. Okay, yeah, but because of that, we kind of get why Cal's dad had said something like, "Oh, please bind Cal's magic," because he wasn't trying to save Cal from other people. He was trying to save other people from Cal, because apparently Alistair kind of had the idea that this is what was going on with Cal from the start. So Alistair is really good at magic. So yeah, we find out that that's why Alistair wanted Cal's magic bound, and we're like, cool, nice book. That was basically after Aaron returns, we just have Cal kind of taking the shock from the fact that he is like the biggest, baddest enemy that they've ever had. And yeah, I thought the book was interesting. So now into the actual parts of the book that I thought could have been a little bit. Well, let me just look at my highlights, see if there's anything that I thought from this book that was exceptional that I would have highlighted. I didn't highlight many things. I highlighted 7 things, and 3 of them were vocabulary. But yeah, there was nothing else I highlighted. So yeah, but Cal is an interesting character so far. So is Tamar or Javi. She's like the pristine, super powerful girl that everyone knows has some authority, rich. So I thought that was cool. And Aaron is an orphan. He's been going from foster home to foster home, just wanting a family. And so he was kind of sad when he became the Makar, because people stopped treating him like a person and more like a god. So, he didn't like that as much, and I liked that part was kind of realistic. Actually, no, I don't know if it was realistic or not, but I liked it. It felt real. And I do not like that Cal kept the fact that he was the enemy of death from everyone. But I understand that he thought he had to. I don't understand it. I'm just saying that. I don't understand why he did it. I know someone would say, oh, he thought he had to because he feared for what he might happen to him. But I honestly don't get it. So it's probably not going to work for me. But yeah, it was a decent book overall. How many stars would I give it? I would give it. I cannot believe this marker does not work. Let me try this one. This is going to be my star rating. So that's 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, and this is bad. Ugh. And a half. On my Goodreads, I just gave it. I think I gave it 3 on my Goodreads, but I give it 3.5. Some of the other books are maybe like 3.75, but 3.5 stars seems very appropriate for this book. I would recommend it, to be honest, especially if you have a problem reading actual books. Like, I do not know. I've been trying to get into some real fantasy, not real, but other fantasy books. I tried reading The Hobbit, Red Rising, The Way of Shadows, The Sword of Kaigan. The Sword of Kaigan I absolutely did not like. The A Court of Mist and Fury, American Gods, The Will of the Many, Rhythmatist. I tried reading all these books and I just had to drop them. Also The Wheel of Time. I don't know if it's something to do with me, but I just don't like the books for some reason. So now I'm going to move on to the Amari and the Night Brothers. I'm going to start reading that book, but I'm going to record my reviews for the other parts of this book first. So this is book 1, 3.5 stars. Definitely would recommend if you're into magical high schools, not magical, but magical schools with good magical elements. There's going to be a romance subplot. Also, really human emotions, feeling inadequate. And yeah, I thought it was a good book. If you would like, you could check it out. And if you have any suggestions for what I should do in my videos, please let me know. I'm also probably going to do a college video because I got into universities recently. And so I'll probably just post my stats and the universities I got into. And yeah, if that is all. I think that's all I have to say, really. I just thought the book was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to record the next video now, so that's it.